War did not make Assyria famous. War made Assyria inevitable. Long before their reputation for cruelty, the Assyrians learned how to survive in a world that wanted them erased. Northern Mesopotamia was not kind. Assur, an unremarkable city on the Tigris, sat exposed. It had no natural walls, no fertile floodplains like the south, and no protection from raiders spilling down from the mountains. Here, peace was temporary, and survival demanded force. The Assyrians did not begin as conquerors. They began as traders, moving tin, textiles, and silver through dangerous routes that stretched deep into Anatolia. Trade brought wealth, and wealth attracted enemies. Slowly, defense turned into doctrine. By 2000 BCE, Assyria was surrounded by violent competitors, Amorite warlords, city-states fighting endlessly, and the lingering collapse of Akkad, still poisoning the region. There was no international law, and there was no mercy for weakness. Early Assyrian kings ruled small territories, but they learned something critical. Victory belonged not to the largest army, but to the most disciplined. They trained infantry formations, emphasized shield walls, and perfected siege intimidation long before the Empire Age. War was not yet a spectacle. It was a procedure. Then came Shamshi-Adad I. He wasn't born an Assyrian king. He took Assyria through conquest. He understood geography as a weapon. He seized trade routes, fortified cities, and installed loyal governors. His wars were not chaotic raids. They were systematic operations. Roads were secured, garrisons were established, and rebellion was crushed quickly. For the first time, Assyria practiced regional dominance, not an empire, but a rehearsal. Yet it was fragile. When Shamshi-Adad died, the system cracked. This is where Assyrian warfare becomes unsettling. Even in this early phase, Assyrians understood something modern psychology would later confirm. Fear is cheaper than prolonged war. Enemies were not just defeated, they were displayed. Victory stele recorded punishments, and survivors carried stories home. Archaeology shows us that early Assyrian military camps were built for quickness, not comfort. Soldiers were all about being light, fast, and tough. It wasn't about being cruel just for the sake of it. It was deterrence by design. War, to the Assyrians, was a language. This is not yet the Iron Age terror people imagine. Weapons were bronze. Chariots were rare and fragile. Sieges were slow and costly. Assyrian generals compensated with organization, standardized weapons, early logistics planning, and a clear command hierarchy. They lost wars. They retreated often. But every conflict was studied. Failure became data. By 1500 BCE, Assyria was still not an empire, but it had learned how to occupy land, how to terrorize selectively, and how to break resistance without endless fighting. These early wars forged the mindset that would later terrify the ancient world. The Neo-Assyrian Empire did not appear suddenly. It was learned, blade by blade, failure by failure, over centuries of hard work. Assyria's early wars were not glorious. They were necessary in a world where mercy was fatal. History remembers Assyria as monsters. But monsters are not born. They are forged. And Assyria was forged early. If you want history told without comfort, without myth, and without distortion, subscribe to Elemental History, because the past isn't dead. It's waiting to be understood.